the Sports Spotlight YouTube channel. And here we go. We are on the air. We are live, and we're going to be following the game. All right. We said the 20th over started. The 20th over started with India at 231. So, as I said in my prediction, whatever, that 250 was in play, 230, 235 was probably more likely. But man, India scored 11 in the 19th over, and then the 20th, Shivam Dubey started with a 4 and a 6 and a 6 and then a 4, and Nisham finally got a dot ball to Dubey on the 5th delivery of the 20th over. But it did not matter. On the last delivery, Shivam Dubey scores another boundary, and India at 255. 255. Run rate of 12.75. Look, the match is in Ahmedabad. Did we expect some scoring? I guess. Yeah. Not like this. Not like this. So, and New Zealand is coming off of a crazy offensive game in the semifinals, right? Can they do it? Yes. Will they do it? Probably not. It's a huge target and a pressure game. So kudos to Team India for under pressure in a championship game, coming out strong with the bats, putting up a 255 at a loss of 5. India's win probability at this point, 88.69%. All right, how do we get here? Well, we will, as we promised, we're gonna have ball by ball coverage of this match. And while we await this, the first inning, India's innings just ended, so there is going to be a little bit of a break before New Zealand's bats take the field, and we are going to take that time to catch you up as to how we got here. And how we got here, not just in this match, but the semifinal games that we kind of talked about. But of course, the last time we were on the air was last Sunday. So the semifinal games have also taken place, and we're gonna talk about those. All of that. Let's get to it right now. So the semifinals were pretty much set the last time we spoke, right? So we're not. I think there were a couple of matches left, but by all means, because that Pakistan-Sri Lanka match had taken place on Saturday, where Pakistan needed to beat Sri Lanka by 64. Yeah, 64 or more is what they needed to beat Sri Lanka by, and of course they didn't come close. They didn't. And after putting up 212. It almost looked like not only that they would not be able to get Sri Lanka all out at 140, whatever it was, 148. Not only would that not happen, but it almost looked like they were going to give away the game, wouldn't even win the actual match, holding off Sri Lanka at 207 at the end of 20 to finally win that match, 212 to 207. We're going to talk about the fallout from that, but man, oh man, we had a couple of matches, I think, that took place. South Africa beat Zimbabwe in a virtually meaningless game, and then a meaningful game, India, West Indies. Now, this one, I think I can't remember if it went final while we were on the air or if it was still up in the air. India did win. They won by 5 wickets with 4 deliveries remaining after giving up 195 to West Indies. They did win on the second delivery of the 20th over to win 199, 195. Seems close, but it wasn't really that close. India was kind of in control. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy that there was a chance for both of these teams that are competing now in the championship game with a couple of days left in the tournament. There was a chance that both of these teams could miss out on the playoffs, right? If India, that match between India and West Indies was a win and get in, right? If West Indies had won, they would have gotten in. India wouldn't be here. Uh, if Pakistan had beaten Sri Lanka by 64, New Zealand wouldn't be here. And then each of these teams, they both made their way into the final four and just put on an absolute show. All right, so let's talk about that first match. I want to say that took place on Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was on Tuesday. South Africa. Ooh, once again, in a big moment, South Africa comes up small. South Africa and New Zealand teed off, and it just they just didn't have it. It started off badly. They recovered toward the end, but it started off badly. The captain and the attacking opener, Aiden Markram, ended up eating up 20 deliveries, scoring only 18 runs. Now, 20 deliveries, 18 runs, and 10 of those 18 came off of two deliveries as he had a 4 and a 6. That's not going to work, right? What does that mean? If he scored 10 off of two deliveries, he scored 8 off of the other 18. That's a lot of dot balls, man. A lot of dot balls. You can't have that at the opening, at the top of the batting order in a match of this magnitude. You just can't do it. Especially when on the other end, Quentin de Kock. Again, these are big names: Markram, de Kock, Rickleton, Dewald Brevis, David Miller, Tristan Stubbs, Marco Jansen. Right? They go they bat pretty deep. This is a good batting lineup. But when Quentin de Kock fell in the second over, they were 1 for 12. When Ryan Rickleton fell on the very next delivery for a golden duck, that wasn't good, right? You can't be down two in a championship game in the first 2 overs. You just can't. Aiden Markram kind of muddled through, as I said, facing 20 deliveries, but in the eighth over, he fell. And at that point, South Africa was 55 for a loss of 3. That ain't going to cut it. David Miller was gone in the 10th over, last delivery of the 10th over. Had left them at 77 at a loss of 4. So throughout all of these, the shining spot that they had was Dewald Brevis. Dewald Brevis came in at 2 down and ended at a shining spot. He scored 34 off of 27 deliveries with 3 4s and 2 6s. Now, this is even worse, right? 27 deliveries. 27 deliveries, and 4 of those 27 are responsible for 24 of those 34 runs. Sorry, 5. So 5 of the 27. That means the other 22, he got 10. So, yeah, I mean, they were just too many dot balls for a T20. Even when you're hitting boundaries, you got to be rotating the strike. You got to be getting those singles and doubles. You got to. And that just wasn't happening. If it weren't for Marco Jansen toward the end and then Tristan Stubbs, they kind of teamed up at the end. Stubbs ended up 29 off of 24, but Marco Jansen, 55 off of 30 deliveries, strike rate of 183, two fours, five sixes, and kind of carried South Africa to at least a respectable score of 169 at a loss of eight. And look, so in this one, nobody stood out, but Rachin Ravindra had himself a pretty good day. 4 overs, 29 runs, economy of 7.25 with two wickets. But nobody else really. I mean, Matt Henry, 4 overs, 34 runs, economy of 8.5, two wickets. But nobody really stood out, but still, they were able to get South Africa at 169. And it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that New Zealand was going to win, right? It was a foregone conclusion. How foregone is what I mean. Look, I was surprised. I was surprised at what Tim Seifert and Finn Allen did, especially Finn Allen. We're going to talk about that in a sec. But New Zealand came in with that target of 170, pretty doable, and you didn't think that that was going to be out of reach for them in any way, shape, or form. But the way they achieved it was something to behold, man. It was Tim Seifert and Finn Allen started off. The first wicket fell when Tim Seifert got out on the first delivery of the 10th over. First delivery, 10th over. At that point, New Zealand was at 117. I want you to understand this. First delivery of the 10th over, Tim Seifert falls, and they're at 117, which is already a pretty daunting total, but not when you hear the final score. The final score on the fifth delivery of the 13th over. So first of the 10th to the 5th of the 13th over, when they finished the match, they got to 173 without losing a wicket. And it wasn't because of the one down when Seifert went out. It wasn't because of the one down that came in, which was Rachin Ravindra. Now, he did well. Not great, but pretty well. 13 runs off of 11 deliveries with two fours, right? So when he's not hitting boundaries, he's rotating the strike rate of 118. Why is he rotating the strike? Well, Finn Allen was on that day, my friends. Finn Allen came to play. Finn Allen, what did the kids say? Understood the assignment. He didn't just understand the assignment. He owned the assignment. He grabbed the assignment by the horns. All the cliches, all the expressions that you can think of. Because Finn Allen on this day, and I think we're gonna talk about how he got here, how he got across the finish line. But Finn Allen on this day said, you know what? They say cricket is a team sport. Right? They say cricket is a team sport, but Finn Allen said, nah, I'm going to play solo. I'm going to play solo on this day. Finn Allen single-handedly carried them to this win. 100 runs off of 33 deliveries. Just think about that. A century on a strike rate of 300 plus. 33 deliveries, 10 fours, 8 sixes. Finn Allen just absolutely on fire in this semifinal match, carrying his team to the victory before the end of the 13th over to chase down. If anyone at all had any inclination that this 169 by South Africa would have been defendable, that there was a chance, well, Finn Allen was there to tell everybody there was zero chance. There was no chance. Now, how did he get there? Oh my goodness. All right. So we talked about, and I think it's important that we start where I mentioned when Seifert fell. So at the end of the ninth over, in which they scored 14 runs off of a four and a big six from Allen off of Maharaj, they scored 14. They needed 53 off the last 66 deliveries. And Finn Allen was sitting at 58 after scoring those. Did he only? I think he scored for 5, 11. He scored 13 of those 14 runs to put himself into a half century at 58 off of 22 deliveries. Think about that. 58 off of 22 deliveries. His team needs 53 to win. And on the first delivery of that 10th over, Seifert goes out. Right? Seifert's done. Rachin Ravindra comes in, a dot ball, and then the smart thing, he takes a single, gives the strikes to Finn Allen. Finn Allen ended up missing it. Sorry, he didn't miss it. It was a ball in on him. He kind of nudged it out to square leg. I apologize. It was off his pads. So yeah, it was a leg by, and Ravindra hits a 4 and then a single again to take back the strike. So Finn Allen didn't do much there. They scored 7 in that 10th over, needing 46 off of 60, and Finn Allen sitting at 23 deliveries, 58 runs. Right? He's the there he was sitting at 58, 42 away from his century. The team needing 46. Think about that. They needed 46. He needs 42 more to get to his century. And on the first delivery of the 11th over, Ravindra gets a 4. So we're thinking there's no way, right? There is no way.
Don't even bother looking for that
Right?
one.
Wasn't going to happen. Ravindra, after a dot ball, gets a single. Allen also gets a single. So on the fifth delivery of the 11th ball, 11th over, Ravindra takes a single, gives a strike to Allen. Allen promptly hits a big 6 on that last delivery of the 11th over. New Zealand ends up getting 13 runs. They're now sitting at 137 for a loss of 1 after 11. They need 33. They need 33. Finn Allen needs 35 to get to his century. He's got a 65 off of 25 deliveries. Not going to happen. There's no way. No way there's going to be a century. Well, Rachin Ravindra faced a couple of dot balls and then takes a single and gives the strike to Allen for the last 3 deliveries of the 12th over. Allen promptly hits a 4 and a 6. And then the most important thing, on that last delivery of the 12th over, he takes a single so that he would have the strike back for the 13th. 12 runs in that one put Finn Allen at 76 off of 28 deliveries. Needing 21. New Zealand needing 21. Finn Allen needing 24. He said, I got it. The 13th over started, and he goes, four. This is Marco Janssen bowling. Finn Allen goes, 4, 4, 6, 6. And a 4 on the 5th delivery. To not only carry his team to a victory. I mean, look, they were down after the third delivery. They were down 6, 7 to win. He hits a big 6 off of Marco Janssen to tie it, and then hits a 4 to win, and getting himself exactly the amount of runs he needed for his century. He gets a 33 ball century, carries his team to a victory. That was just insane. What happened in the other semifinal was just as insane. We'll get to that in a little bit. By the way, the match is still at the innings break. It's going to pick up, I believe it's very imminent. Are they giving us time? I think it's about to start any minute now. So we'll get going with that. But right now it's still at the break. And it's time for us to take a break. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad. You're listening to the Sports Spotlight with your host, Rizwan, right here on our YouTube channel, as well as radioazad.us.